Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving deep into something we all experience. That feeling of exhaustion, that moment when you just want to give up. But what if I told you that those moments, those times of utter fatigue, are actually signs that you are incredibly close to your goal? This is not some fluffy motivational talk. This is about understanding the mechanics of progress. We're going to break down why exhaustion is often a prelude to success, not a signal to quit. Buckle up, because this is going to be a game changer. This journey will be structured into 10 pivotal chapters, each designed to guide you through the process of recognizing and leveraging the power of those almost there moments. Chapter 1 will introduce the very concept of fatigue as a signpost rather than a roadblock, and will challenge conventional thinking about pushing past obstacles. We'll discuss the psychological responses to exhaustion and how these can often be misinterpreted as a signal to retreat rather than to advance. Then in Chapter 2, we'll explore the science behind the feeling of tiredness, focusing on the physical and mental changes that happen as we approach a breakthrough point. By understanding what's happening on a biological level, we can better manage and interpret our own exhaustion, using it to our advantage rather than letting it defeat us. Then in Chapter 3, we'll examine the idea of the last mile effect, which is that period of intense difficulty right before achieving success, that moment when it feels like all is lost, but you're closer than ever. Then in Chapter 4, we'll learn to recognize the difference between healthy fatigue and harmful exhaustion, a crucial distinction that determines whether you push through to victory or need to take a strategic pause. This chapter will help you develop the self-awareness needed to make better decisions when faced with fatigue. Chapter 5 will explore the powerful tools and techniques for maintaining momentum when fatigue hits, such as strategic rest periods, visualization, and positive self-talk. We'll focus on building practical resilience strategies that can be immediately put into action. Chapter 6 will be about changing your perception of fatigue by framing exhaustion as a challenge rather than an obstacle, enabling you to shift your mindset, turning weariness into a source of internal strength. We'll explore how language affects our experience and how to reframe fatigue in positive terms. Chapter 7 will delve into the power of small wins, teaching how recognizing and celebrating small accomplishments can refuel your drive and boost morale when you feel drained. This will be about understanding that every step forward, no matter how small, counts toward your ultimate success. Chapter 8 will focus on the importance of knowing your limitations and the strategic retreat to replenish your resources before pressing on again with renewed vigor. Knowing when to pause is just as crucial as pushing forward. Then Chapter 9 will be about the value of persistence and resilience by examining the lives of history's great achievers, looking at how they were able to navigate fatigue to ultimate success. Finally, in Chapter 10, we'll synthesize all the lessons we've learned, creating a practical roadmap that you can use to turn fatigue into your ultimate advantage. This is not just about enduring hardship, it's about using it to fuel your growth. Chapter 1, The Misunderstood Signal. Let's face it, exhaustion is not usually viewed as a positive sign. Our society often equates tiredness with weakness, a lack of effort, or a signal to stop. When we feel utterly drained, our instinct is to collapse and rest. While rest is indeed vital, we need to rethink what these periods of intense weariness really mean in the context of striving towards a meaningful goal. Perhaps, what we've always perceived as a red flag to stop is actually a green light to keep pushing forward. When you're pursuing something meaningful, something that truly pushes you beyond your comfort zone, fatigue is not a matter of if, but when. Think of it as the universe's way of testing your commitment. The idea that it's a sign of impending failure is based on a misunderstanding of what genuine effort feels like. The very act of pushing oneself to the limit, engaging with new and strenuous tasks, or maintaining a high level of concentration is inherently exhausting. Therefore, feeling tired is not an anomaly. It's a natural consequence of putting in substantial work and investing genuine energy. It is time to fundamentally change the narrative around fatigue. What if we started viewing it not as an enemy, but as a marker of our progress? What if we chose to see it not as the end of the road, but as the signpost announcing we are closer to our destination than we realize? This chapter invites you to reframe your perception of tiredness and recognize it as a signal of intense effort, and that if you are in this phase, then you are most likely approaching the next level, whether that's a personal accomplishment, a professional goal, or a creative breakthrough. Chapter 2. Decoding the Science of Tiredness. To really understand why fatigue can be a sign of approaching success, we need to delve a little deeper into what's actually happening in our bodies and minds when we feel tired. It's not just about being sleepy, it's a complex interplay of physiological and psychological processes. From a physiological perspective, prolonged effort depletes the body's resources. Muscle glycogen, our primary source of energy, gets used up, leading to muscle fatigue and that general feeling of physical exhaustion. On a hormonal level, cortisol, the stress hormone, rises. And this rise, while necessary for short bursts of activity, can be detrimental if it remains elevated for extended periods. These chemical changes all contribute to the feeling of being worn out, but they also indicate that your body has been working hard, that you've been pushing through, not coasting. It is actually important to understand that feeling tired isn't just a physical phenomenon either. The mental aspect is huge. When we tackle something challenging, our brains work overtime, processing information, solving problems, and navigating complex situations. This mental exertion is incredibly taxing, leading to what's often called brain fatigue. This fatigue is not simply about mental exhaustion. It's also about the brain's neurotransmitters being depleted. Dopamine, a key player in motivation and pleasure, is often reduced with sustained effort, resulting in that feeling of demotivation or lack of interest that we often feel when fatigued. Yet, the very fact that your brain and body are undergoing these changes means that they are actively adapting. By pushing your limits, by working hard, you are forcing your system to evolve, to improve, and get stronger. What we perceive as mere exhaustion is actually a signal of your body adapting and becoming more resilient, ready for future challenges. It's a demonstration of the powerful, transformative effects of consistent effort. So the next time you feel tired, remember that it's not just about being worn out. It's about the complex changes that occur within you as you approach a new level of capability. Chapter 3. The Last Mile Effect. Now that we understand the physiological and psychological aspects of fatigue, let's talk about the last mile effect, something many of us experience without truly grasping its implications. The last mile effect describes the phenomenon that occurs when you are just at the end of a major task or a strenuous journey and you feel as if you've reached the utter limits of your energy. This stage often feels the most difficult, filled with uncertainty and a strong urge to simply give up, where you feel as if there is nothing left. We often interpret this as a sign that we cannot go on, an indicator that we simply lack the stamina or ability to complete what we have started. We tell ourselves, I am just not up to it. It's not just about feeling tired. It's about a complex mix of mental, physical, and emotional fatigue compounded by the perceived distance to the goal. You may have been putting in your best effort, but it is when you are the closest to finishing that you feel the greatest sense of doubt and despair. The irony here is that this is the moment you're most likely to succeed. The final part of any task or project requires the greatest amount of energy. You've already given so much, so the final stage pushes you to the absolute limits. Yet, these moments are what separate the ones who actually achieve their goals from those who fall short. It is when you feel exhausted, depleted, that you are actually reaching the last mile to success. Understanding this can be crucial, as if you view this phase as an insurmountable obstacle, you'll likely yield and give up the opportunity you were working towards. But by changing your perception, by recognizing the last mile effect as what it truly is, the last push before crossing the finish line, you can learn to harness its energy rather than fall victim to its intensity. It's all about perspective. The next time you feel overwhelmed and utterly exhausted, remind yourself that it is during these times that the biggest breakthroughs happen. These are often the crucial moments that redefine your limits and unlock new capabilities. Chapter 4. Healthy fatigue versus harmful exhaustion. Now, it's essential to clarify that there is a huge difference between healthy fatigue and harmful exhaustion. This is a critical point because not all tiredness should be taken as a sign that you're near the end. Healthy fatigue is the natural tiredness that comes from intense and challenging activities. That is, pushing yourself beyond your usual limits, engaging in focused mental effort, or completing demanding physical training. This type of fatigue is typically characterized by a deep but manageable tiredness that can be remedied with rest and proper recovery. You may feel tired, but you do not feel entirely depleted. This healthy tiredness is accompanied by a feeling of accomplishment, of being closer to your goals, not of utter despair and hopelessness. Harmful exhaustion, on the other hand, goes beyond normal tiredness. It often manifests as a constant and pervasive state of depletion that feels like it is a never-ending feeling of fatigue, both mental and physical. It can be the result of chronic stress, overwork, or a lack of adequate rest and recovery. Signs of harmful exhaustion include chronic feelings of being drained, difficulty concentrating, irritability, and a lack of motivation. You will feel as if you have lost all willpower and that you cannot continue anymore. It is crucial to be able to differentiate between the two so that you can take appropriate actions. Pushing through healthy fatigue is how you grow and develop resilience. It's about knowing your limits and pushing them a little further each time. But pushing through harmful exhaustion is detrimental and will ultimately lead to burnout and prevent success. So the key takeaway here is self-awareness. Learn to listen to your body, to understand the signs of each type of fatigue. Use healthy fatigue as a guide to drive you forward, but treat harmful exhaustion as a red flag that it's time to pause, recover, and reevaluate. By understanding this distinction, you can better manage your effort and avoid pushing yourself to the point of breakdown. Chapter 5. Tools for maintaining momentum. So, how do you keep going when that feeling of fatigue hits? How do you harness the power of your exhaustion without letting it take you out? The first tool we're going to discuss is strategic rest. This is not about stopping completely. It's about taking deliberate breaks to recharge your batteries. This could mean taking short power naps, meditating, going for a short walk, or any activity that helps you mentally and physically reset. The key is to make rest a part of your strategy, not an act of desperation. Then, visualization is also a powerful tool. Before you embark on any challenging task, take some time to visualize success. Imagine yourself completing the task, feeling the accomplishment, seeing the result. This creates a positive expectation that can propel you forward. The mind does not see the difference between something that has actually happened and something that is actively being imagined. So take advantage of this. Positive self-talk is another essential strategy. Replace negative thoughts of doubt and exhaustion with encouraging affirmations. Remind yourself of how far you've come, of your strength and capabilities. The way you talk to yourself matters. If you are constantly putting yourself down, that negative internal dialogue will eventually come true. It's important to fuel yourself with the correct mindset when you know that you are in a crucial point in your journey. Breaking the task down into smaller, more manageable steps can also make a huge difference. Rather than focusing on the entire mountain ahead of you, concentrate on each smaller step. This will prevent you from feeling overwhelmed, making each stage much more doable and more likely to be completed. Finally, use the power of habit. Create a routine that incorporates work, rest, and recovery into your daily life. Consistency will help you build the resilience you need to manage fatigue and sustain your momentum. The secret to success is in small steps, completed every day. This will eventually help you achieve the large goal you are aiming for. Chapter 6. Reframing your relationship with fatigue. Beyond the practical tools, the next crucial step is to change your mindset about fatigue. Instead of viewing it as something negative or an obstacle, you need to start seeing it as a challenge, as a sign of your growth. This involves actively reframing the way you talk to yourself and think about your weariness. Start by acknowledging that fatigue is not the opposite of strength, but a demonstration of it. When you feel worn out, don't think of yourself as a failure. Instead, acknowledge your body and mind's hard work that you have done up to that point. This acknowledgement is the first step to turning that feeling of weakness into an understanding of the resilience that you have. Challenge negative self-talk. If you find yourself thinking things like, I can't do this or this is too hard, immediately counter these thoughts with positive affirmations. Remind yourself of your past achievements, your ability to overcome challenges, and your commitment to reaching your goal. Reframe your language. Instead of saying I'm exhausted, try saying I've worked incredibly hard, or my body is telling me it's time to rest to come back stronger. The words you choose create the reality that you will inhabit, so use them wisely. See fatigue as a temporary state, not a permanent condition. Remind yourself that this feeling will eventually pass. It is just a phase. What you are experiencing is simply a consequence of your intense effort and dedication. By changing the way you perceive fatigue, you transform it from a debilitating force to a marker of your progress and a signal of how close you are to achieving what you want. This mindset shift is not just about being more positive, but also about recognizing and utilizing the power that is hidden within that seemingly negative feeling of being tired. Chapter 7. The Power of Small Wins. One of the most effective ways to combat fatigue and keep yourself motivated is to recognize and celebrate small wins. When we are so focused on the big picture and ultimate goals, it is easy to become lost in the journey, overlooking all the progress that we have already made and feeling completely demotivated and uninspired. This is when you become more vulnerable to fatigue, and your brain uses that as an excuse to slow down or stop completely. When you are aiming to achieve something big, it is so important to pause and recognize those smaller milestones, because each of those individual steps brings you closer to that bigger goal. Breaking down your tasks into smaller components not only makes them easier to manage, but also creates opportunities for small victories. Each task you complete, no matter how small, helps to build momentum and to provide a much-needed boost of motivation. This is the equivalent of adding fuel to a fire that is trying to go out. Celebrating these small wins can boost your confidence and give you that much needed renewed energy. When you acknowledge your progress, you reinforce the positive behavior, helping you to stay focused on your goals. The idea here is not to just get to the big finish line. It is about enjoying the process and allowing yourself to appreciate what you have already done. This is the same way that you would celebrate a child when they take their first steps or when they finally learn how to read. These are milestones that should be celebrated because they are part of the journey of their progress. The same logic applies to your journey. Don't downplay or dismiss the small wins. Acknowledge each small victory with a moment of celebration and reflection. Each step forward, however small, moves you closer to your ultimate destination. By focusing on the journey, you reduce the feeling of burnout and fatigue because you will have much needed milestones that help you understand you are on the right track. Chapter 8. Knowing when to retreat. Pushing yourself is necessary for success. However, there are moments when strategic retreat is not just an option, it is vital. It is crucial to understand that there is an important difference between healthy fatigue and harmful exhaustion, and it is important to know when to stop and recharge when you are in the latter. Knowing when to pause and replenish your resources is not about giving up. It's about being smart and planning strategically so you can continue your journey. This means recognizing the signs of harmful exhaustion. If you feel constantly depleted, unable to concentrate, or experiencing a constant state of low energy, that's a clear indication that you need to stop and rest. Listen to your body. It's telling you that you're pushing too hard and not allowing time to properly recover. Rest is a crucial element of success. It isn't the opposite of it. You aren't failing by taking a rest. You are actually taking the best course of action to prevent burnout and ensure that you will have the ability to continue with your journey. The idea is that you are like a car that needs fuel to keep going. If you keep pushing the car without refueling, eventually it will stop. The same principle applies to humans. You cannot keep pushing without refilling your resources that include both mental and physical rest. Plan your retreat strategically. This is not about going to sleep and hoping you feel better. It means finding activities that truly recharge you, whether that's spending time in nature, having a good night's sleep, engaging in a relaxing hobby, or simply spending time with people that make you feel better. This is an investment in your ability to continue with your journey. When you return, you will feel refreshed, motivated, and have more energy to commit to your goals. It is not a sign of weakness to strategically take a pause. It's a testament to your wisdom, and it allows you to not only prevent burnout, but to also come back stronger and with a greater determination than before. Chapter 9. Lessons from history's achievers. Let's turn our attention to some of history's greatest achievers, those who have pushed the limits of human potential. These individuals, whose stories often inspire us, demonstrate a key fact, which is that success is not about eliminating fatigue, but managing it strategically and using it to their benefit. It is important to understand that they were not superhumans with unlimited energy and willpower. Instead, they had the same kind of struggles and doubts that we all have. They all experienced moments of intense exhaustion, but they also understood that fatigue was simply a part of the process, an indication that they were making progress. Think of athletes who have completed grueling competitions. They don't go through such intense physical tests without feeling incredibly tired, yet they push forward to achieve their goals. They have learned that this extreme exhaustion is simply part of the process, a necessary feeling that they have to endure to achieve success. Or consider the lives of successful entrepreneurs. Their stories are full of challenges and setbacks, intense intense periods of work and dedication that would break many other people. They have shown us that the road to success is always a difficult one. Or take artists and creators who have poured their souls into their work, tirelessly working late into the night and enduring countless rejections. What they have shown us is that the creative process can be exhausting, both physically and mentally, and that feeling of fatigue is not a sign that you should give up. The lesson that we can learn from these individuals is not that they did not experience exhaustion, but that they learned to harness its power, to use it as a sign of their commitment, not a signal to retreat. They didn't allow fatigue to define them. Instead, they allowed their dreams to define them. This is an idea that each of us can use in our own lives. Each of us can learn that pushing beyond your comfort zone will be difficult, and that feeling tired is simply a side effect of the hard work. They all understood that persistence and resilience are key. They didn't stop when they were tired. They rested and pushed on again. So the next time you feel exhausted, remember these stories and use their examples as a testament to the fact that you are also capable of incredible things. Chapter 10, Your Roadmap to Victory. Now, let's bring it all together and create your personalized roadmap for turning fatigue into your ultimate advantage. The first step is to acknowledge that fatigue is part of the process. Stop viewing it as a weakness or as something negative. Start viewing it as a marker of your progress. You need to understand the difference between healthy fatigue and harmful exhaustion. Listen to your body, and when you feel the signs of harmful exhaustion, do not ignore them. Take the rest that you need so you can come back stronger. Embrace strategic rest. It isn't just about sleeping more. It's about actively engaging in activities that help you recharge and reset your mind and body. Make rest a strategic component of your overall plan. Use visualization techniques to envision your goals, reinforcing your belief in your ability to achieve them. Practice positive self-talk, reminding yourself of your past achievements and your commitment to the process. Break down your tasks into smaller, more manageable steps, allowing you to achieve smaller wins and maintaining your motivation. Celebrate those small victories. No matter how small they are, they will give you the confidence you need to keep going. Reframe your language around fatigue. Instead of saying, "I'm so tired," say, "I have worked incredibly hard and I have made so much progress." When you feel those moments of intense exhaustion, don't let them take you out. Instead, use them as a sign that you are making progress. Learn from history's achievers and know that you are capable of greatness, and that fatigue is simply a necessary part of your journey. And lastly, know your limits, and if you need a break, take it and come back stronger. Remember, fatigue is not a stop sign. It's a sign that you are pushing your limits, that you are growing and progressing. Embrace it, understand it, and use it to power your journey toward achieving your goals. Conclusion, and there you have it. As we have seen, fatigue is not the enemy, but a signal that you are pushing your limits and making progress towards your goals. The key is to understand it, to manage it strategically, and to use it as fuel for your growth. Remember, the road to success is not easy, but with the right mindset, the right tools, and a deep understanding of how fatigue works, you will achieve your goals, whatever those might be. The time to stop viewing fatigue as a sign to quit has come. Instead, see it as your call to keep pushing. You're closer than you think.